Good morning. Wednesday, December 16th. DH Podcast, Hi5 series. Let's just break right into it. First off, biggest news of yesterday. I'm not going to talk about too much about James Harden being fat. I don't know if that was worthy of one in itself, but he definitely is. I don't know if it's the wings at the strip club. I don't know what it is, but he. Hey, it's 2020. Can't can't hate. So calories didn't count this year, is what I've been told. Let's get into it. First off, going to stick in the NBA. Giannis signs a supermax contract. For those of you that don't know, there's a difference in the sense of a max contract like LeBron and Anthony Davis continue to get, and a supermax which Giannis is getting, and which people like Jason Tatum were available for, to where the NBA has incentivized players to stay in their home cities that drafted them. Home city is a bad term, but you know what I mean. The cities that drafted them, in the sense that they want to decrease the amount of parity in the league. They want it to be more. They want talent to be spread out evenly throughout the league, so that it makes it competitive. So that we don't see a 2015 through 2018 Warriors scenario again on our hands. But that's the way that life goes. Because if you get people like Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, that don't want to be in their home team anymore, that's okay. They can leave. They're just not available for the Supermax contract ever. So Supermax is only available for those staying in the cities that drafted them. And so Giannis was offered 5 years, $228 million. I don't even know what $1 million looks like, let alone 228 of them. Now, he'll have an opt-out after his fourth year. That's a player option, not a team option. So he'll be able to take advantage of that. He clearly loves Milwaukee. Milwaukee's accepted him. And a lot of people saying that he can't win a championship there. You couldn't be farther from the truth. They need one piece of the puzzle to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and maybe even just to the finals themselves. And you can get two pieces of puzzle, and you're there. Chris Middleton's awesome. He's an incredible person, a role player to be able to build upon. But Giannis can't do it alone. So people are right in the sense that with the team is currently constructed, you can't win a championship. Yes, I would agree with that. But to say that he'll never win a championship in Milwaukee is short-sighted and idiotic, or you just don't know how cap space in basketball works. Maybe just pick them. If the shoe fits, if the foo shits, wear it. Number two, the MLL it is not rebranded. That's the wrong word. But the MLL has merged. There we go. Look at me using business words. MLL and PLL, Major League Lacrosse, Premier Lacrosse League, have merged under the PLL header. That's the Rabel brothers. Paul Rabel was one of the best MLL players we had seen in the 2000s in the new millennia, and he decided that he wanted to be able to create something that was more player-driven, almost grassroots, in the sense that this is a league that gives players the opportunity to build their own platform, that they're the stars, not the league itself, that also allows for more pay scale for these players as well. So that's something that a few of the incentives that he really wanted to make happen in the PLL, and so far he has. I have never seen so much lacrosse content on my feed as I did in 2019. 2020 was a little bit different, but they were one of the first people to successfully organize, compete, and then complete a tournament. And while they might have had less people, I don't think that that's any knock on them or any slight to them. The fact that they did it successfully, continue to be testing daily, it's insanity. And so for somebody to work all those logistics together, it's an incredible hat tip to them. And so we had a feeling that these mergers were going to be happening. I was actually just surprised at how quickly they happened. So it's been far under 5 years since the PLL has been there. But I think the MLL is finally realizing that, hey, if we want to get more eyes to the program, the best way to do it is by using these contracts. And whether it's the contracts of working with these social media companies or the contracts of TV, I never, ever saw an MLL game on my television. Not once. Even the championships, never. Even the finals, never. But with the PLL, I saw tournaments. I didn't even see just the finals or just the Final Four. You saw tournaments and regular season games being played on NBC Sports. I mean, that's incredible. A huge step forward for the program. And I think the MLL did the right thing, not by folding, but by adding what they can bring to this. So there is now an 8th team in the PLL. That's going to be the Boston Cannons, except they are now just the Cannons Lacrosse Club because the PLL does not associate with cities. So they are just teams. So if you like a team, you like a team. You don't have to have geographic allegiance, which I think is a really, honestly, galaxy brain idea because so many people are bound and, I mean, Jets fans, Knicks fans. I mean, we can go down the list of decrepit teams and why you would want to do that. So the PLL is also traveling. They're using stadiums like Gillette Stadium because you know that Bill Belichick loves lacrosse. His players love lacrosse. Shout out to Chris Hogan. So allowing for people to be able to spread the league around without having them being planted, that they can travel anywhere they want to continue to grow the game, I think is really important. So that is going to be happening in 2021 is all of the players of the Cannons will be in an expansion draft that'll be taking place in 21. I don't know how many of the other MLL clubs will be a part of this expansion draft. I don't know how many people are going to be taken or if it's all dependent upon the draft and maybe saying, hey, you know what, you're all in for the draft and if you don't get selected, then your only other option after that is free agency. So these MLL players know how to grind. They've been doing it for a long time with little recognition, little pay, little fame. So now there's a chance to break out, and I think the cream of the crop's going to rise. It's awesome. I'm incredibly excited about it. Just the branding alone of the PLL is far superior to what the MLL has been able to put out. And they don't act like it's just a business. They act like this is something with players that they value and they give a shit about. It's amazing. Number 3, we're gonna keep bashing here a little bit. NCAA is going to the Supreme Court, folks. NCAA has been continuing to appeal and appeal and appeal. I believe this is their 3rd or 4th appeal because they lost their last 2 lower circuit court cases in the sense that both of those, first off, a lower circuit court went against them, and then the higher circuit court agreed with that, and now they've taken it to the Supreme Court, and today the Supreme Court said, all right, we'll take it. Now, what are they taking, you ask? Well, these lower courts said that the NCAA cannot put a cap on education-related compensation for players, as well as education-related benefits for players as well. So the NCAA is worried that's going to create a pay-for-play scheme. Well, the NCAA is juggling a lot of different things here because of their ineptitude. They've created this pay-for-play, and now through these education-related compensation, the pay-for-play is still there, but it's also on the books. Towards the NCAA was having people, Rick Pitino, Coach K, Nick Saban, were sweeping it under the rug. Oh, you want to give somebody a car? Oh, you want to give somebody cash? Well, that's just going to be under the rug now. Keep it zipped. That's it. That's one thing that I don't know if why the NCAA doesn't like it, because they've been running this racketeering gig forever. And I swear by this, before I'm dead, the NCAA will be gone, and it'll be much better for collegiate sports and collegiate athletes as a whole. And because maybe they'll have a similar model to PLL in the sense that they'll say, hey, we're going to actually want to advance the players. We are not going to want to advance ourselves or this business as a whole. I mean, come on. Now, this rule about education-related compensation, it's only for Division I football and Division I basketball, men's basketball, excuse me. So it's not nearly encompassing, but it's encompassing of the 2 big cash cows. We're obviously going to keep up with this. I really hope that the Supreme Court tells them to go to hell, because they're also now juggling with, they want to stop this, but yet they're also looking into paying players. And it's, why do you care about this when you have so many more problems up ahead? I really don't. I don't know if they're just grasping for power, like Schmeagol in Lord of the Rings, just popping at it. I have no idea. But we're, of course, going to continue to follow this and keep you guys updated with everything. On to number 4. College football playoff rankings came out yesterday. Same 4 as they've always been. Iowa State jumped up into the number 6 spot. Texas A&M holds strong at 5. So essentially what Texas A&M is really hoping for is a couple things. They're hoping for Iowa State to lose in the Big 12 championship, so that the Big 12 is just gone. I think they're gone anyway. I think 7 is absolute nonsense. The Big 12 and the Pac-12 are not going to be represented at all in the CFP. Texas A&M needs Clemson to bury Notre Dame. And I mean, it's got to be either one of the way. It's got to be a complete burial of either Notre Dame stomping Clemson and saying, hey, we beat him with and without Trevor Lawrence. Neither of these wins were a fluke. That would kick Clemson out. The second option, at least in my mind, you can't be having this 2-loss team in the CFP. Simply cannot be happening. The other option would be is if Clemson absolutely stomps them out, and I'm saying like 30 points. I mean a real, just absolute barn burner, to where the committee says, wow, that loss was completely a fluke, and when they actually play a good team, they lost. Let's get them out of here. Even though they beat North Carolina, who's really good and deserving of a top 10 spot. I mean, there are so many of these teams, like Florida, I don't know how they're still in the top 10. I don't know who's got nudes on who, but they're leaking them, or they're threatening to leak them, because Florida, being as highly ranked as they still are, should not be happening. Cincinnati continuing to get the shaft is why people don't like the CFP. This year has actually shown that the CFP is now no different than the BCS, to where the CFP was saying, hey, we will give credence to these teams like Coastal Carolina, like Cincinnati. If they thwomp their competition, then we'll actually give them some consideration. But no, they're knocking Cincinnati for not playing enough games, and they're propping Ohio State up for also not playing enough games. It's again, we all knew the hypocrisy was there, but the fact that they're showing it is deafening to me. So that's that. And I know, Matt, we're in actually number 5 is we are recording a new episode today. So we're going to talk a whole lot more about all this stuff. What I love about the Hi5 is that I get this out to you in under 15 minutes per day. Gives you a really small glimpse about what we bring to the table each and every full episode. Absolute heaters. This one's going to be really good. Matt's been texting me how livid he is, so I expect him to go off right from the beginning. It's going to be a really great time. Hope you all join us. I will talk about it tomorrow because they release on Thursday mornings as well. So keep that in the back of your brain. Subscribe. You'll get a notification every last single time for it. And then if you want us to talk about anything, find us. Twitter, Instagram, at DH_podcast. We'll add anything that you want. We have some listener questions that we're going to address today. So we're going to get into it all, and we will catch up with everybody soon. Have a great rest of your day, and remember, CFP, go right to hell.